Hello, everybody. I'm here with Amanda Kelly. I am Dr. Swan, also an Amanda-Swan. And I am author of the Books of Sahra, Jesus' Secret Wife, the Yeshua Frequencies, founder of the Sacred Order of Light, Energy, and Information 17, which is this mandala. Amanda Kelly, the other Amanda, is a spiritual activator and guide, podcaster. Her podcast is The Heart of Truth, and she is author of Let There Be Light, which is a journey of healing, awakening, ascent, and descent, like the entire roller coaster of the journey, I guess. I haven't read the book
Yes.
yet. Amanda and I have been talking about getting together, so this is a spontaneous, let's finally get together and talk at this time of the eclipse, which was so powerful yesterday. And we're going to talk
Mhm.
a bit about that and whatever comes through and where that eclipse is leading us over the next phase. So,
Yeah.
how was it for you yesterday, Amanda?
Uh, well, honestly, quite beautiful because I was working very intentionally with the energy. And, that's not to say I didn't experience some waves. Before I get any deeper, thank you so much for introducing me. And it's such an honor to be diving in and having these conversations. I'm really excited to see how this evolves because the energy, there is a lot of resonance between us, and the energy, it does feel like for me, it was coming through like this crescendo and this culmination point where actually it's like the organic energy is anchoring, that this organic essence is now actually able to blossom and really take root. This crown to root energy has been a theme coming through over the last several months, and especially the roots, like really rooting in our organic roots, the lineage roots, and really getting strong, firm, and anchored in our energy body so that we can be the strong pillars of light as these waves of energy move through the collective and as the old energy is being cleared from the grids. So I could go on more about what I was feeling yesterday, but I'd be curious how that part resonates with what you've been experiencing so far yourself.
Yes, very similar. For me, yesterday, the eclipse was very woozy and very spacey, but the whole day, the entire day leading up to it, I had the experience of bringing in lots of aspects of my essence and my destiny that have been waiting until this time. And that was certainly connecting to other people who I feel I'm going to be collaborating with more people coming in at a whole new level, work about to go to a new level. And at the same time,
Mm.
rather like you described the crown chakra and the higher energy coming in, I also felt parts of myself resurrecting, emerging from deep in the earth, coming back in. And
Mm-hmm.
it was literally like these two levels from the earth and from the
Mm-hmm.
higher coming in and meeting in the heart.
And that's actually like the roots energy. It's like when we root into the organic grid again, that's kind of what I feel like. That's how it's been coming through to me, is then we're able to access that organic coding to resurrect, as you put it, to retrieve, to reclaim those aspects of self that, whether from past timelines or whatever, but it is coming from both directions. We're receiving it from galactic, we're receiving it from ancestral and other civilizations here on Gaia, on Earth, is how it's been coming through for me. And it was really coming through as this spiritualization of matter and the Sophianic heart coming online, because I did go through some waves of remembrance and density clearing and stuff like that over the last several days. But it was also, I had a dream where I was literally like, it was a very mundane reality, very vivid, but it was like I was just wearing a regular dress in my closet, a little white button-down dress and regular shoes. And my steps, I started floating as I was taking these steps in the dream. And then I got to an intersection, not a huge street, but I literally, my body just beyond my own volition started rising up, like it, not flying, but floating up and over the street. And the couple cars stopped and it was like, oh, gotta take a picture. Is this really happening? Send it to me. Like, it was just kind of this lighthearted energy. And I thought that was quite symbolic of what we're being called to integrate is this kind of lightness of being that is this joy, this frequency of expansion, this frequency of joy, and us reclaiming those particles of light, those aspects of self that are light, and integrating them into our being, into our vessels, so that we are that beacon. And yeah, that's the polarity that I was really experiencing, but coming into that integration, becoming the diamond, becoming that whole sovereign being is kind of the theme that I feel we've been working with. And I feel this threshold was really bringing us into embodiment of a lot of these energies that we've been working with.
Yes. That resonates with what I was getting, and I wrote about this on Substack, this connection to the ancient glorious civilizations and eras coming back online. It's almost like those timelines are coming back again. So the one that came up first for me was Arthur and Guinevere, King Arthur and Camelot and Guinevere, and that sense of reclaiming that the journey of the grail, the quest, the divine quest, the divinization of not just us, but of the world, of the geopolitical situation, everything, bringing the sacred and the sovereignty back to everything. And what came to me was the eclipse was like Arthur in the cave. He retreated into the cave where he spent some time meditating on the way forward, how to bring his vision through. And it's rather like Yeshua going into the desert. All the great masters and leaders have done that. They've all retreated to a cave or a mountaintop or a desert. They've gone into their inner darkness to pull out of themselves this new level of divine light and to give birth to that. And it felt like that is what was happening. The masculine coming forward really to reclaim the sword and use the sword of light, the sword for the light. And at the same time, Guinevere, in a sense, who was a classic symbol of the grail, the vessel, the chalice of divine love and divine truth, and the realigning and reunifying of this divine masculine and feminine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That is very resonant with specifically the Avalon energy has been coming through a lot. The Grail energy I've been working with a lot in the last few years, couple years, but recently the Guinevere and Arthur energy, Avalon and Gen to the fore, and having conversations with people in Glastonbury, looking at kind of the overlays and distortions, but what's really the organic coding underneath and stuff like that. On a lot of different levels, it's been coming through. But when you were talking about this, I was brought back to last November when I was bringing through this cosmic womb course. And I saw an image of a sword descending from the cosmos, from the celestial realms onto Earth. And the sword itself was like the masculine container for this beautiful starlight, this Shekinah iridescent type frequency, this plasmic starlight held within the sword itself was the image that I saw descending down and then anchoring into Earth, anchoring into the crystalline grids. And I also did a grid work in Glastonbury at that time where it was very, very wonky and distorted, but we had to anchor in the energy work that we had done, the clearing that we had done. So I was like, okay, how do we anchor this in? And then I saw an image of this really beautiful plasmic pale blue crystalline Sophianic rose blossoming through Guinevere's heart, like in the, where they're buried there in the abbey. I saw this image of this Sophianic heart ascending from the crystalline core of Mother Earth and then blossoming through her heart there in the abbey. So it felt very symbolic and beautiful, but it was the sword and the rose energy, the chalice and the Grail energy is really coming to the fore there. And now here we are 6, 7, 8 months since, or even more, I don't know, whatever, whatever that exact timeline is. And it feels like it's actually anchoring or blossoming or emerging or whatever particular word resonates, but it's feeling like these energies that a lot of us have been working on collectively, this living light architecture is coming online in the grids through us. We're really stabilizing the field right now, and it's really quite beautiful actually when you feel into that frequency, because there is a lot of chaos in the collective, and this is what's occurring in the organic fields, I suppose we could say, is how I've been feeling it anyway.
This is all this resurgence that I'm feeling of these divine beings. And the other one that I'm feeling very strongly, who I've been working with a lot in this year, is Mother Mary. It was always Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua I was working with in the past for decades. And then just this year, it's been so much Mother Mary energy. And she has a strong presence in South France and Glastonbury as well, as I'm sure you've felt. Everyone goes to the wishing tree near the well in Glastonbury, but there's another place that is a portal, the ancient portal into Avalon, and that's the Mother Mary portal, and that's where I like to go. And I feel that her energy is coming back more and more strongly, and she is really over lighting the spiritual journey for people at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because she's been a very present presence for me for a while on my journey now, like the last couple years especially. She came through back in 2024 very strongly. I had this beautiful, but very, very intense, deep clearing, purging from my field of heavy, painful energies, very spontaneous. And I even went into a fever, but I felt this pain in my abdominal region and it was just moving around. And I realized it was this mother grief, this mother energy that, coming down through the lineage, past lifetimes, whatever, all of the above. And it was the pain that I felt for loss, for the suffering of her children, of my children, of humanity, of Gaia's suffering for her children. It was the whole big spectrum of all the different layers of the mother. And then I lay down and I had this incredible vision come through of all the starlight descending, and the stars became unicorns, which I later learned was the Christ frequency, or maybe I had already known that, but at the time. But it was like thousands of unicorns, millions maybe, descending from the sky, and then they landed in this clearing because we were in Ophiuchus season approaching solstice. And it was this winter clearing, and then the center star, it was Mother Mary holding a baby. And it was this beautiful energy of rebirth and connection. And there was a bit of a journey that ensued after that. But it was just this very strong and powerful, potent presence that she made herself very known to me and very available to me at various points on my journey. And so, yeah, I very much connect with her energy. But as a powerful priestess, like she had to be super initiated and trained to carry the Christ through her womb. She wasn't just a passive, oh, surprise. Like that's not the energy that I associate her with, but
No, it's not possible. In fact, that people don't really understand the preparation that goes into that.
Mm,
Not just bringing that energy through her womb, but the preparation
yes.
pre-conception
Hmm.
and really all her life, and the preparation of the grandmother as well, Anna.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's a huge thing. I mean, to bring in a divine child, clearly the child the child is spiritually conceived 22 months before physical conception. So whatever is going on in the parents' fields at that time is already becoming part of that child's
Mm,
spiritual inheritance. So what you're
okay.
saying, it's totally right. It's a huge
Mm,
preparation that she
mm,
had to do
mhm,
on herself. Right now, what we're in these days until for another few days until the 18th is the Great Bear,
mm,
according to Catherine Tennant's 22 Lost Signs. And
mhm,
that's the Great Bear is a permanent celestial guide. She is a protector that provides the spiritual north. The Great Bear constellation never disappears, it dips, it goes down and comes around again. And
mhm,
it feels like that relates to this resurgence we're feeling around Arthur Guinevere and Mother Mary,
mhm,
Yeshua Mary, all of these great beings. They dipped down for a while out of the
mm,
collective reality, and now we are all feeling that, and so it's rebirthing through all of us and
mhm.
surging forth. And we're just in that for a few more days till the 18th, and then we go into the sea serpent. And the sea serpent, that's an interesting that's till the 23rd. So these are very short bursts. The sea serpent is Hydra. It's the primordial oceans, deep wisdom, and the feminine source of life, which
Interesting.
yeah, it relates to what you were saying about this divine feminine rebirthing coming from deep in the earth and Mother Mary and everything we're
Mhm.
talking about coming back,
Yeah.
the
Mhm,
eternal journey of the soul, but how we're coming back round to these mythological roots of ourselves and the collective, like the Sumerian mother goddess and
mhm.
these ancient laws. And another thing I saw was that right before the sun and the moon met in the eclipse, they passed through two asteroids. And you'll never guess the asteroids were Isis and Osiris.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's fascinating. Okay. No, I did not know. So I follow astrology to a degree, but I also have never been super attached to it because I believe the tropical is kind of the matrix astrology.
Yeah.
And I'm not as familiar with the 22 sign astrology. I did see it in your recent article that you had mentioned it, and I meant to follow up with you and ask about it. But the 13th and the 14th have come through as Ophiuchus and Orion, so
Yeah.
now I'm curious to learn more about because some say, oh, it's 13, and then somebody was like, no, but if we have the 13, we need the 14. It's Orion. And so
Well,
I was like, okay, like there's a lot that we're still like the pieces of the puzzle are still scattered. I think we're in the process of beginning to re-anchor the original blueprints and templates of initiation that we used to have in the temples and everything. But we have lost that, and it's been like the wild, wild west of spirituality. So a lot of what we've learned or been taught, or the pieces that we picked up along the way we're gonna be tossing some of that out as we
Yeah,
move forward, I feel. So
yeah,
I just stay
definitely.
open right now. I'm like, okay, change my mind next time new information comes through, like, or
Definitely
upgrade, you know?
we reserve the right to change our minds. I always say that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, it's interesting about astrology because the planets now, what we see now is not where they are. I mean, that's ancient
Yeah.
history. So I find it very confusing, but I have found whenever I've dived into the 22 lot signs that the mythology is so much more profound. And in fact,
Mm.
apparently Pythagoras reduced astrology from 22 signs to 13 and then to 12 because he
Interesting.
decided it was too much for the common person to understand. And maybe it was. It's a bit like the Chinese turned the phoenix into the rooster because they thought the
Oh,
people wouldn't really relate to a phoenix. It's too
I didn't
mystical.
know that one. I know that they have the dragon still, but I didn't know they actually changed the phoenix
Yeah,
to the rooster. That's an
yeah.
interesting one.
Right, because the common people could, the people on the land could relate to roosters more than phoenixes. But what was interesting about the Isis and Osiris asteroids right at that time before the eclipse
Mm.
is the asteroid of Isis was at 17 degrees, and that blew me away because 17
Mhm.
in my mandala, solely 17. 17 is
Wow.
the master number of the divine feminine, the new paradigm for the next 2,000 years. The 17th
Is it?
dimensional divine feminine consciousness. So Isis
Oh,
passing with the sun and moon
at the
meeting
17th
at the
degree.
17th degree, mind blowing.
That is, so this is all new stuff for me. The 17 being the frequency for the next 2000 years, you said. The 17 itself has not really been in my field. I've connected a lot with the 13. Um, and of course, today is the 13th as we record this, so that's kind of fun. So the 13 and the 22, I've connected with those kind of numbers connected to the feminine and the 13th dimension and stuff like that. The 13th zodiac, I don't know, but the the 17 I'm less familiar with.
Well, that's a whole teaching in my book here
Okay.
that the Yeshua Frequencies this talks a lot about the significance of the number 17. I don't know if the entire Q movement knew the real significance of the number 17 or not. Isis and Osiris, like very much like Arthur and Guinevere, Arthur had to go into his cave, he had to find all these aspects of himself in order to rise up. Osiris had to be put together again. And Guinevere, in a sense, was so many faces, like Isis with the veils.
Mm, mm-hmm.
This eclipse really brought in a new level of divine feminine and divine masculine consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and unity and awareness. And it's so much to do with the sacred sovereignty, sacred love, sacred
Mm.
and creating sacred beauty. And that's now what has to be our compass for moving forwards.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting that you're framing it all this way because yesterday I was mostly internal. Like I'm here in Portugal where we had a partial view. So I went outside just very intentionally sending all old energies to be transmuted and just really feeling into my heart. But this idea of the compass, the celestial compass and true north, and really aligning with and anchoring into the sacred mission right now.
Right.
But this masculine architecture really was beginning to anchor for me personally of, pieces of the puzzle for the vision that I've been holding for years and working on building for the last few months with more fine-tuned clarity. It's like they fully clicked into place, yesterday. And this morning it was kind of crystallizing even more. So the timing, I can't make that up either. Of course, this activation was occurring at this time. I had this kind of energetic veil lift from my field on Sunday. I saw more vision of some past timeline, kind of more galactic energies. It didn't feel of this earthly realm, but it was something that it's like I wasn't maybe ready to see it before, but it's an activation that I need to bring through the codes that I'm here to bring through as well. So the timing of it all feels very, very orchestrated, very guided, and it's very beautiful. And it's this idea of the feminine remembrance, the restoration of the feminine, the reclamation, but also the return of the mother has been coming through for, I don't know, a couple years or whatever. And it feels like in the last several months it's been anchoring all the more deeply, and it's her heart is like blossoming open now is how it's coming through. And then the masculine architecture is anchoring to allow that flourishing of the beauty and the harmony and the love through what we build and create. So it's, I don't know, that's what I've been feeling for myself personally as well. And I see that that pathway is anchoring and opening up for so many of us right now. And
That is beautiful. It's like it's this time of recreating life as a temple. And
yes,
that's what
yes.
I'm seeing, the temples, and that's very much my work with veils that I create and creating temple spaces is that we need people all over the world who are all doing this kind of work, anchoring in beautiful temples, stabilizing the
Mm-hmm.
earth so that we can
Mm-hmm.
ride the waves of what's coming. And I saw an amazing video yesterday or the day before of some weird phenomena in India, where this great round, this circular reservoir of water is
Mm-hmm.
wildly oscillating. And they don't know, it's a whole phenomenon. No one knows what's causing it because it's just a big pool, basically, a big circular pool. And
Whoa.
the water's going shoo, shoo, shoo. I think it's something to do with the wobble of the axis of the earth and
Yeah, I was wondering, is
timelines.
this like the pole shifting a little bit? Because I've been told that it's not going to be this dramatic pole shift that creates a cataclysm. It's a much slower process. I take some of these things with a grain of salt, but yeah, definitely it feels like there is some deep earth energy recalibration. I mean, looking at the volcanoes and the earthquakes and, well, the fires on the surface, that's maybe a whole other story. But
Yeah.
from the higher timeline, burning away the old, deep alchemy, not fun in the moment. But yeah, yes, I feel this clearing of the grids is what I was also clearing, but it's like a harmonization process so that we can anchor in the frequency. And the way that it's been coming through for me for the last however many years is we have to build the body temple first, and we have to anchor in the foundation. Our internal frequency has to be so like our energy field so pristine and squeaky clean even for us to then build the new temples, the new system structures, pathways for new earth or whatever you want to call it, for heaven on earth, because our frequency is what informs the frequency of the foundation for everything going forward. So it's building our sacred body temple so that we can actually build our sacred mission temple, or the physical structures, or etheric energetic through our online businesses or whatever people are building out there. But that's really how it's been coming through. And the temple word has come through so much in the last 24 hours.
There you
So,
go. We're always in sync, I mean, even the same places that we've been going through big initiations around the earth, from
mhm.
Mexico to Egypt,
Yeah,
Glastonbury, wherever. It's extraordinary. France. I
yeah.
I mean, some of us, you're a different generation. And I think so we're all working at different levels. I've been
Mm,
doing the body temple work now for over 33 years.
yeah.
And I feel like I'm graduating from that. I'm coming back now to do more temple work. That's my plan. I hope God agrees. And
33, that's another number that I feel is deeply encoded on the lighter side of with Christ, right? Do you believe in that one?
oh, I don't believe I know that because
Yes.
actually, numerologically, I am a 33. And
Okay.
so I've investigated the master numbers
Mm,
encoded in numerology, and it's very significant. 33 is the number of Christ consciousness,
yeah.
absolutely. Of
Yeah.
embodying Christ consciousness, 44 is the number of resurrection. It's
Mm,
it's a big challenge to work with the number 33. 11 is a challenge in a different way because people have to, at that level, have to step out of the ego and
mm,
into the first level of sort of Christic karmic awareness.
hmm.
And it's quite a leap to go from sort of normal mundane to that. And then 22 is the sort of builders on that. And then 33 really can't live a normal life and nothing works if you try to. And I'm laughing as I'm saying this because I actually needed to be reminded of that. Again, when I'm like, why can't I just have a more normal life than where things work the way they do for other people? No.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's true for many of us on this path. You know, we're being
Yes.
guided by these celestial symbols and cosmic signposts. And the more we follow them and the more we get aligned, the more powerfully things start to alchemize.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, we're literally going to be booted out from the old systems and structures if we try to go back. Like our soul will be like, "What are you doing?" That because I tried. I did try for a while at the start of my journey. Even like to have like that foundation, that safety net, or just like the survival support as I was building and growing. And yeah, well, my journey has not been easy at all, but I was not allowed to stay in those old, like the old matrix type jobs and
No,
systems and things like that. And I do not have a 33 numerology, but I definitely resonate with life not being able to look normal.
no, no, I'm sure the places you've been and the things you know, and you talk about, you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to come back to, which is
Mm,
about, I guess it's not the way you said it, but it was really about a lot of illusions, not just falling away, but being ripped away. And
mm,
you made some comments, I think, on Facebook, and I did on Substack about the Lion's Gate.
mm.
And there's this sort of tendency in the new age to fly off into these Lion's Gate wonderful ideas, but they're they're not really grounded in much substance. There was a Lion's
Right.
Gate once in 1998 or 1999 with a big eclipse then,
Mm.
but it's not an annual thing that it's become. And these portals, you know, oh, the 2nd of February or the 5th of May. No, no, you have to look at the year as well. You have to look at all numbers. You can't just sort of decide, I'm
Yeah.
not looking at the year and make it a portal.
Yeah, and beyond that, it is still rooted in the Gregorian calendar, which, it's like the way I was feeling it is like people do feel energy on these days because we give it energy, but our
Yeah,
heart is the portal and we are the co-creators of our reality. The lesson is, as it's come through for me, is to remember that we are creating the portal. We are the portal. We can create a portal any time that we bring our attention and intention into that grander vision, as long as it's guided by soul, not ego, then it's for the higher good. It's going to manifest and expand for us beautifully. And we don't have to wait for a portal day to do it.
Although there are portal days, there are days when
Yeah.
definitely there are cosmic astrological alignments that are so powerful.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
yesterday,
yeah.
we can't deny it. For years, I felt like, we just moved beyond astrology. We deal with whatever challenges our astrological chart has presented to us, and then we move beyond it. But actually, the more time goes on, the more I see that it is constantly having an effect, whether that's because it's running the matrix and the simulation. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but you can't deny the effects of Mercury
Yeah.
retrograde, for example.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, okay, if it's Mercury retrograde, take a step back, review, revise,
Yeah.
and don't push anything forward too fast. Dot your I's and cross your T's. That's how I work with it now. And I have fewer issues. Sometimes there's a little scrambling in the field, but fewer major issues than I might have in the past where I was resisting it. I definitely believe in these galactic cosmic alignments having an impact. It's like, yeah, Sirius might be streaming in a lot more light onto the planet from what is it, early July, and then kind of really reaching a crescendo with the heliacal rising in early August. There is a very powerful energy being our spiritual sun, that blue ray frequency coming through. We're being activated, but then that energy, what I didn't really get into, and I'm curious how this, but I got a message. I was like that the message came through that that's why they do Lionsgate the way they do is because so many people are opened and spiritually activated on a whole other level. And so it's a perfect time for them to kind of hijack and loose that energy because there's even more of that spiritual essence that's been activated. So, I don't like to, inject fear or too much distortion, but I do I've seen what I've seen. I know what I know. And there are certain things that I'm like, well, it's a reality that at a certain point on our journey, we kind of have to face and confront and not bypass, but not from a like perspective of fear. But that's kind of the message that came through for me with the Lionsgate, the false Lionsgate, like why that one portal day over all the others? Because we are spiritually activated this time of year. I always feel very activated this time of year. But anyway.
Yes, I wonder how much it depends on which hemisphere you're in. A lot of it is just to do with summer and warmth and
Yeah.
wearing lighter clothes and being able to get out more in the lighter evenings and enjoy life more. Uh, I, I've lived in the southern hemisphere and I honestly don't remember uh,
Yeah.
the difference with the solstices and the seasons, but I think it's so much about that mentality of people just feeling lighter and freer and getting out more
Yeah.
rather than the dark, cold winter days.
Yeah.
So,
That the sunlight, I mean, it is
yes,
healing. It is
yes,
healing. It is activating. Yeah. Maybe it's
yeah.
as simple as that, but yeah. Yeah. And I also have an attuning to now, I'm not familiar with this 22 zodiac or 22 sign astrology, but I was kind of recalibrated whenever a few summers ago to galactic Lionsgate being the end of August. This alignment with Sirius, sorry, not Sirius, the Sun and Regulus, the heart of the lion, the Leo constellation, and Lyra. So I am curious if that resonates with you as
I'll have to feel into that. I'm not feeling anything
yeah.
about that right now. But the 22 lost signs, let me pull up and
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you also, like, where would Leo fall? Or is it all the same zodiacs or are they different?
no, no, and they vary, and some of them come in and out, and we're back
Uh,
in again for a few days here and a few days there. It's much more complicated. It's not just split into
uh,
sort of 12 or 13 easy,
Got
you
it.
know,
Okay.
29-day cycle.
Mm.
It's 6 days here, a week there, 2 weeks here. It's
Mm.
very, very complicated. I still, I don't hold that kind of information in my mind, so I research
Yeah.
it as it comes along. But this
Yeah.
phase feels so important also because it is an 8 month,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 3 or 4 dates this month, or 3 dates that are 17 days numerologically. And talking of portals, those are the days for me that feel the most powerful at any given time. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever I'm having a super powerful, big divine feminine download, or in a work day on that kind of mastery, it's always a 17-day.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the 8th of August was interesting because that actually was a 17-day, 8, 8, and 1, because it's a 1 year.
Okay.
2026 makes a 1 year.
Right. Yeah.
And
Interesting.
so we have another of those on the 17th of August and the 26th of August. So we have three of those days that are 17, which is the Divine Feminine Mastery Day. So those
Okay.
are, for me, those are days to look out for, especially as we've been talking about this resurgence of the divine feminine crown is what I'm feeling and seeing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
calling
that was
that,
part of the
like the,
message.
yeah,
Yeah, that I was getting on Sunday was the crowning.
yeah, the crowning is like the males with the sword and the divine feminine finding its queendom.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's super beautiful. Yeah, the essence that came through for this transmission that I am bringing through on the 22nd, which is, the way that I was connecting with the galactic Lion's Gate. Either way, I was guided way back in June to bring this through, but Royal Remembrance was the frequency, and Royal Remembrance, you are the key. So this Ankh body energy coming in, not just this like, oh, you're a queen, it's like actually this very high frequency energy of remembrance and the crown activation. So I got all these messages about the crown and all of that. So very beautiful, but definitely this claiming the throne, claiming the crown, but in a really embodied divine authority kind of frequency.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's Guinevere, it's Isis, it's
Mhm.
Sophia, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Sahra, who
Yeah, the
is,
queens of heaven and earth.
yes, yes, absolutely. The the rebirth, the renaissance of that, them
Mhm.
coming back, not just being reborn, but really coming back in their power.
Mhm. Yeah, and their organic truth as well as how it's coming through now too, because
Yeah,
there's been a lot of distorted narratives about many of them.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll dive deeper into things and see what comes through as
Mm.
we're moving into a new phase, maybe. But
Mhm.
it's been really great mirroring each other and
Yeah.
bouncing off each other's ideas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. And it's so beautiful to know how much resonance we've been feeling in the messages and the energies that we've been sensing. It's very, very aligned and in sync, it seems. So it's really beautiful.
Wonderful. Well, that's it, I think, for today from the two Amandas.
Yeah.
Amanda. Tuning out for now. We'll be back with more.
Yes. Much
See you all
love.
soon. Bye.
Mm.